Good morning, YouTubers. It is Thursday, August 8th, 2019, and these are your morning announcements. So I am on my way to work. It is a beautiful day today. It was actually kind of stormy last night. It was nice. I mean, I like a good summer storm. Unfortunately, to the north of us, the storm was much worse, and they got some pretty bad weather. So I feel bad for the people up north. We did not have it so bad. It was just a beautiful summer storm that was fun to watch, and it's weird. I mean, maybe my perceptions are skewed because I'm thinking back to a time when I was a kid. And, you know, your perceptions of things when you're a kid are much different than your perceptions of things when you're a grown-ass woman. But I could swear that we had a heck of a lot more summer storms when I was a kid. A lot more summer storms and a lot more snow. But maybe that's just me thinking back and not remembering correctly. Because, you know, that happens. Fix this here. Alright. So, you know, this morning I was like watching the news, and they're still talking about the things that happened in El Paso and in Dayton. And, you know, I keep hearing the whole racially motivated thing thrown around, which just makes me absolutely sick. That in this day and age, we're still dividing ourselves based on race. I mean, we have all the tools necessary to understand and realize that every single person on this planet is genetically the same. But we're still dividing ourselves up into little groups that fight one another, which is exactly what they want us to do. Our governments have no power. We have no power. There is a small group of people who run everything, and it's all based on lineage and money. You know, in Genesis, it talks about the Nephilim. And it says in Genesis 6 that the Nephilim were there in the days of Noah, and they were there afterwards as well. And the Nephilim are the children, the offspring of an unholy union that occurred between fallen angels and human women. And the first generation of these Nephilim were giants. And as the generations progressed, the Nephilim got smaller and smaller until they were just a little bit bigger than us. They could blend in. And then the Nephilim stopped having relations with anyone who wasn't a Nephilim, who didn't have Nephilim blood. And that bloodline has been preserved since the dawn of man. It's why the kings and queens of Europe would only procreate with one another, and the kings and queens of all the Eastern European nations, the Asian nations. It's a heavily guarded bloodline. Every single president of the United States that we've had has been, including Barack Obama, has been related to somebody from European royalty. And that is not a coincidence. the richest people in the world are descended from all this royalty, all this tainted blood. You know, I hate to say this, you know, because I know that this is going to jar some people, but us, white people, we are the descendants of these Nephilim. That is where our white skin comes from. You can have lighter skin come as the result of two black people making a baby. It won't be as light as me, but lighter skin can develop, right? But you will never have two white people who procreate and have a black baby. It will not happen. Unless there's already some black blood in one of the two people who are having a baby. Like, for instance, Chrissy has skin almost as light as mine, except for when she goes out tanning, then she gets pretty dark. But I mean, she's very, very light skinned. She's half black, half white, and her skin color is very light. The man, the sperm donor for her son Devante, was very dark skinned, and Devante is very dark skinned. Now, he may get married someday to someone who is much lighter skinned than himself, and there's a chance that they might have a light skinned baby. There's also a chance that they might have a dark skinned baby. But if Rick and I would have chosen to have kids, and you know, he and I both have been genetically tested, we have no conceivable African blood in us. At, you know, maybe back at generations past we did, of course, because everybody is descended from Adam and Eve, or at least the same group of people who came out of Africa, depending on what you believe, right? But you know, going back generations and generations and generations, there isn't any African blood in Rick and I. He and I would not have had a black baby, right? The white skin is recessive. It's a mutation. And I think that mutation happened so abruptly in our human history because of the Nephilim. You know, I'm not sure what happened to the Nephilim during the time between Noah's flood and the recreation of Earth, but my guess is that they had the technology to leave the planet. I mean, we're learning more and more about this forbidden archaeology that shows us that there were civilizations prior to what we know. You know, the earliest being the Sumerians. That there were civilizations prior to that had high technology. We see evidence of this high technology all over the world. There's megaliths all over the world, where stones were moved that were so big and so heavy that even today we can't move them. You know, they had a high technology that we don't know about. And I believe that before Noah's flood, in those thousands and thousands of years that occurred between the beginning of creation up until the time of Noah, that there was a lot that was going on this planet. A lot of tech that we haven't even recovered yet because we're not smart enough. You know, the Nephilim were getting their information about technology from their fathers, the fallen angels, who were privy to all the knowledge that God had shared with them before the fall. They knew all about this stuff. They knew about what signs and wonders that God was going to put into the universe prior to him even creating it. And we know from the Bible that even after the fall, that these fallen angels were still considered to be from heavenly places, not from underground. They weren't living underground. The Bible says that they were from heavenly places, which means they were still going to and from heaven. They were still going into the spiritual realms. Of course, after the time of Noah, the fallen angels were chained in the abyss and taken out of our realm, but they still have influence over the demonic spirits that are the Nephilim spirits. The Nephilim spirits are a thing in existence that should never have been. And their souls have no place anywhere in heaven or hell. They're just an abomination, and they are continuing to filter into our world. Those wandering, aimless spirits still get into our world and influence the things that happen here through demonic possession and through the demonic things that they're orchestrating. All these alien abductions that you hear. See, the devil don't want me talking about this, so he's knocking my stuff down. And turn it on my windshield wipers. I'm gonna just hold this for the rest of the time, guys. Anyways, that was pretty weird. All these alien abductions that are taking place, all these people who are getting snatched up and having things taken from them, both tissue, sometimes embryos, all that stuff, all that is being used to create beings that can house the souls of these Nephilim, these wandering spirits, so that they can come into our world and prepare it for the Antichrist. And that's been going on for generations now. And they have this demonic influence over our world, and we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it. Now, what I said about us white-skinned people having Nephilim blood in us, I believe that at this point, at least for the average person like myself, who doesn't live in a world, who hasn't been a part of like a complete and total bloodline mastery, okay, that stuff has been bred out through the generations, and the white skin is left behind as a reminder of what happened, but that doesn't mean that our souls are damned. Jesus died for all of us, and had he not, none of us would have been saved, because I'll tell you what, it's in all of us now. The taintedness is in all of us. And that's why, when the Jews, when they left Egypt and they went marching towards Israel, and wiped out all of those people, the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Azarites, all those people that got killed in the, that got slaughtered, men, women, and children, it was because they were Nephilim, and they were the ones who came back, and God was wiping them off the planet before they could completely and totally destroy the world again. God wanted to protect the bloodline between Adam and Jesus. And the only way that he could do that was to get rid of these abominations, and that is what the wipeout was about. So, some of them escaped and went up into Northern Europe. And that's where we come from, guys. So that's why we need to fight every single day against any unnatural urges that we might have to kill, maim, and destroy, and suppress, and oppress. Because all that stuff, unfortunately, is built into our blood. And we need to follow the path of Christ and use his life as a roadmap to keep us from giving into all that. It's very important. So anyways, that's why I'm saying that we need to, as a people of this earth, unify, not divide, and work together to fight against our common enemy, which is this evil, this shadow deep state that runs everything. We have to fight against it. Otherwise, we're goners. We're done, guys. We're so busy fighting each other that we're not seeing the things that they're doing. We're not seeing what they're doing to us. The ways that they're killing us and making us sick. So keep your eyes open, guys. Be awake. All right, that's all I had to talk about. Now that you think I'm crazy, that's fine. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. And despite all this negative Nelly talk that I had today, I'm still very, very positive, and I love you guys. And I love that you take the time each day to watch me. So take care. Bye-bye.